In this video, I show how I made a fermentation cabinet using free wood that I got from a construction site dumpster. And only ever touch wood that is in the dumpster. If it's beside the dumpster, that's not trash. If it's in the dumpster, then that's trash, and we don't want to ever do any theft. Also, double check, because if they have no trespassing sign, you can get in trouble for that. But if there is no sign, then you're absolutely fine. Again, not legal advice, because I have to put that as a disclaimer, or else I don't know what could happen. But for some reason, every single YouTuber feels the need to say, not a lawyer, not a doctor. So I'm not sure why they're doing it, but gonna kind of follow the trend a little bit. So not a lawyer, so consult your own laws. But when I'm doing this, I'm going and I'm looking on Zillow and I'm seeing where there's new construction going on, and I really check to see if there's 2 to 5 houses being built at a minimum, because if you go there, there's going to be a decent amount of wood getting tossed out, and it would honestly surprise you a lot. Yeah, you're going to need to take some nails out, and you're going to need a table saw and chop saw to kind of cut the stuff to size and make it somewhat usable, because as you can see, you get some pretty odd cuts. But if you're willing to do a little bit of work, you can build basically whatever your heart desires for almost no cost, minus the gas to drive over there and whatever screws you want to use. And then right here, I'm just adding a middle section to kind of stiffen up the OBS board, because where the two boards met due to not having the full size, there was a tiny bit of gap, and I'm trying to eliminate all air movement that I possibly can. And then the next step is just kind of copy exactly what I did in the previous step and build the top. I'm using these 90 degree clamps right now. They're not really the best, but I'm trying to use them, trying to keep the whole thing square, because if you ever try to build a box, it is a lot more difficult than you'd think, especially if you don't want the whole thing to be crooked and slanted to one side. So having a nice flat, even floor that you can build it on, or a really, really good T-square, some of the ones that you use for drywall, as you can see in the background right there, really helps the process go along. And then right now, I'm kind of just measuring, making sure that each of the distances between the plywood is the same before I put in all the final screws. And then as you can see right here, I'm kind of just going through and filling up those side gaps left by the 2x4s I put on the wall. And then once I do that, I put on some OBS board, and I kind of just cut the sides straight, then stack it on top of each other until I get enough. Then quickly take the Sawzall and just rip down the side. Or is that the skill saw? I think it's a Sawzall, but you know what I mean. So just rip down the sides of that, get a nice flush cut with the 2x4. And then once I have that done, which actually takes a lot longer than you'd think, because I tried getting a nice flat cut by using the table saw, but my table saw doesn't have a nice push board on it or a nice feed table, so I wasn't actually able to get it, so I wound up using the drywall giant T. Then once I got that, I took some caster wheels, I think they are, or just little wheels off the bottom of a spare computer chair, little desk chair that I had, and you drill a little hole that's tiny bit tighter, and then you just bang them into the bottom, and they work amazing for making stuff portable. I toss them on so many of my projects. If I have totes I need to store stuff in, I'll make something, put them under them so I can slide it back and forth. If I got milk crates, I'll toss these under them. I save them whenever I see them. If I see someone tossing out a desk chair on the side of the road and it's all ripped up and no one's going to use it, I always pop off. You can take the feet off, or the wheels off really easy. And due to the fact that the OBS board I'm currently using is about 3/4 of an inch thick, the project is about 150 pounds at the moment, so lifting it up is a struggle. Also, lifting it down right now was a massive struggle. I'm actually really surprised that I didn't wind up tilting and bending the wheels. Well, with how they're placed in the wood, I thought they would kind of kick out or just fall out themselves. So making sure to lower this down nice and easy, while also not getting any splinters, because like the smart person I am, I decided to not wear gloves, which I guess isn't the biggest deal because you can regrow your skin. But I am very proud of the fact that I decided to wear both ear and eye protection on this, because once your eardrums go pop, there's really not too much you can do, and I don't want to be like a 20-year-old walking around with hearing aids. But always wear eye protection. I learned this while leaf blowing. Yes, no, leaf blowing. I was doing yard work last year, and this tiny thing of leaf litter went up, and it scratched my pupil, and it was painful every single time that the lighting, the brightness changed in a room. My pupil shrank and contracted and just grew. It was like agony. And I mean, I get it wouldn't have been as bad if it didn't get infected, but it got infected and I had to go to the doctor, and then they gave me this stuff because it was scarring, so I had to put this cream on it to stop it from scarring, or else my vision would be like kind of opaque and blurry, and like, holy, like, this was such a nightmare. So yes, wear eye protection. If you're leaf blowing, put eye protection on. If you're using a saw, put eye protection on. You only have one pair of eyes. So, going back to the video, right now I'm kind of just cutting up the shelves. These are going to go inside the fermentation cabinet, and a little bit earlier you saw me cutting the, I don't know, shelving rests, if that's what you kind of want to call them, but that's what I'm going to call them. So, I'm just trying to get them all nice and square right now, because the table saw doesn't seem to be capable of actually getting me nice anything at 90 degrees. So I have to go back in with the T-square and the Sawzall, which I'm pretty sure it is a Sawzall, or it's a skill saw, but we're going to call it the Sawzall for the sake of this video. I'm sure if anyone does watch this video, I'll get corrected in the comments, but right now I'm kind of just trying to space out. I'm not sure if you caught it right there, but if you click the pause button, you can see this fermentation cabinet is for kombucha and hard cider. So I get that it's oversized, but I'm putting like an air filter in here and a nice little space heater. And I mean, maybe if I can separate it, I can put my 3D printers in here, because I do have some resin and PLA printers, but I'm not sure how that's going to work necessarily with this whole thing being food grade. So yeah, but that's an issue for future me. Power of now and all that stuff. But yeah, future me problem is going to be able to figure out how I can get this thing going for everything I want to absolutely shove into it. But the issue I'm kind of facing with it is my house gets cold during the winter. I am on the cheaper side, and at least the way my parents brought me up is, if you can put a sweater on, put a sweater on. If you can wrap yourself in a blanket, wrap yourself in the blanket. Keep the house at like 50, 55 degrees and just keep pounding on those layers. Not necessarily the most comfortable for when you have guests over, but that's why those people have their own homes, so that you can go over and visit them. And I mean, I do turn the heat up. Like, don't go thinking I'm like overly cheap. Like, I do turn the heat on when people come over. I am very courteous with making sure they are comfortable. Okay, wait, back to the video. This is actually a pretty interesting part. So the door was slanting a little bit. So I decided to add another wheel. Wow, just out of the top of the head. Didn't see that coming. But this actually worked really, really well, because the door came out to be like 70 pounds. So, yeah, I'm sure I'm going to get killed in the comments for overestimating the weights here. Everyone's going to be like, oh, no, it can't be that heavy, but that's what it felt like to me. I get that's oversized, and that kind of adds some weight to it, but is what it is. And that is a wrap, so thank you for watching.